Guys, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to make some things clear. I know I'm often talking about real estate and I'm a little bit bearish on the price and talking about some of the pitfalls that people don't consider when making an investment into real estate. But in all honesty, the truth is that I do think the best investment you can make is in land, arable land where you can grow some food and actually produce something from your land. So I'm not very excited about investing in something like condos in a city because I just don't see the value there. I know that's kind of the entry point for a lot of first-time buyers. That's where they are forced to look because they can't afford a detached home. And so we are seeing prices in some of the heated markets continue to rise in the condo market and stuff like that. But if I'm looking longer term at kind of sustainability and a hedge against things going really bad in the economy, then really what I'm looking for and what I see as the best investment somebody could make is some land where you can grow some food. And I had a comment from Steve of the North on my last video where he mentioned the best investment you could make is in land in an unorganized township. And so what that means is it's not incorporated and there's a lot less regulations. You don't need building permits in order to build, and you don't have all of the regulations that you do in big cities or incorporated towns and stuff like that. So it really offers you a lot of freedom. I like to call it little pockets of freedom. There's not too many left, but you can find these pockets of freedom where we still have some areas that are they're quite unregulated. So to me, that's very appealing. If I want to come in and build my own home or build an addition or build a little cabin or something like that, I don't always want to have to meet these really strict building codes. And I've been in the trades for over 20 years and I'm an electrical contractor. And so I see a lot of the regulation. And although some of it does have some benefit, we are making things safer. A lot of it honestly is just a money grab, and they put these new regulations into place so that they can basically sell us more expensive equipment. And that's the kind of stuff that I don't agree with. I do, if you have the money and the ability, then sure, build to a higher standard, but that just isn't the reality for most of us. So I think that people should have the opportunity, if they can't afford the luxury of these high standards, then they should be able to afford to build to a lesser standard if it's not going to jeopardize their neighbors or put any immediate neighbors at risk. And to me, that's better than just saying, if you can't afford to build to this high standard, then you can just be a renter or in poverty for the rest of your life. I don't really think that's the right way to approach this. So although I do see some merits to higher standards, I don't think that that everywhere should be highly regulated, and we should force everyone to adhere to these really high and strict regulations. So I'm a big advocate of these areas where there's a little more freedom and you can just have that liberty to build something to a lesser standard if you like. Maybe you want to build a home that doesn't even have power. Maybe you want to run on solar, or you want to have wood heat or whatever. Well, that's really tough to do in a lot of areas. So to me, that's where I see the best investment right now is further out of these main cities and just getting yourself a little bit of land where you can actually grow some food, so that if this inflation hits and it really does go rampant and these dollars really do continue to lose their value, then we have a way to kind of hedge and protect ourselves against that. And that's by growing our own food and really securing our own food supply. So that's our plan here. You can see behind me we have a bit of a garden that's covered in snow, but that's what we will be doing here. And for now, we're just renting because the price of real estate is just unaffordable in my opinion right now. So I'm waiting for a little bit of a deflationary period where I think a lot of people are going to get called on the debt because a lot of people are overextended. And if you think about currency, the reality is all currency is brought into circulation through the form of debt. So all of these government currencies are actually somebody else's debt. So even if you have a bit of cash in the bank, it is owed to the banks by somebody else. All of the currency in existence is actually debt and owed. So to me, that's kind of a crazy thing to think about. If you think about that, none of it is actually just debt-free capital. It's all owed to the banks, every single dollar, plus interest. So that's a pretty wild thing, and that's where I do get interested in stuff like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a different system where it's not somebody else's liability. You can actually own that outright, and it's the most sovereign form of money in existence. And so anyways, my play when I talk about Bitcoin and precious metals and stuff like that, it's just that's my approach. I'm not saying this is the best thing for you to do. I've been wrong many times, but my idea is that I'll invest in these like precious metals and some of the crypto, mainly Bitcoin to be honest, and ride that up. And while these prices appreciate in these assets, and then I think the over leveraged kind of traditional play of real estate will come under a bit of pressure as the economy continues to slow down and a lot of these people lose their businesses and stuff because of these measures put in place by governments. And then I think we'll see a few people entering into bankruptcy or insolvency, and then that should put a little bit of downward pressure on these markets. And also, I think just the big shift that's happening with retail dying and a lot of people realizing they can work remote. And so they're realizing they can get a lot more for their dollar if they go a little further out and into the small towns outside of the city. So I think that's a trend that's going to continue, and more people, especially people that are paying attention, they, I think, see the value in having a little bit of land, having a little bit of freedom to be able to grow your own food, and that's really the best hedge you can have. Because when it comes down to it, if things get really bad, nothing's going to do that well. You know, Bitcoin, gold, or silver, you can't eat it. So really, what good is it? But my opinion is that it will maintain value, definitely a lot better than these fiat currencies, just because there's no intrinsic value there and it's so heavily indebted. So, but my long-term vision is to get my capital into land that I own outright. And I really like the idea of purchasing in one of these unorganized townships. So you can do a little research on that and look it up, but there is tremendous value in that just because you do have a lot more freedom, and you're not necessarily obligated to build to these just crazy standards where most of us can't even afford to meet these requirements. And then they'll just come in and they'll ding you with more fines and stuff because you're taking too long to build, or you're not meeting the certain code requirements, and then they're charging you every trip out. And it's just a big money pit in my opinion. So to me, I like that idea of a little more freedom. But I'll keep this video as short as I can. See, we're already getting up there, so just wanted to make those comments on kind of land and investing and really clarify that. And I hope you guys are all doing well wherever you are, and just becoming interested in markets and saving in different ways. We can look at this, different perspectives, and hopefully we can make some wise decisions so that we can all do well moving forward into these uncertain times. I hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll see you in the next one.